The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the best possible position heading into day 2 of the 2023 NFL Draft. So, when the Pittsburgh Steelers traded up to pick number 14 to select Broderick Jones, who would have thought many of the top players at their position would still be available for the Steelers' first pick in the second round? When the Steelers traded up, many thought cornerback was going to be long gone. One of the best options, Joey Porter Jr., would be long gone before Steelers even picked a 17. Some had him going before even that pick 17. But Steelers now at pick number 32, they have so many good players still left on the board and at top of their position that they're in a great spot. Looking at the cornerback position, the Steelers really need it. And having Joey Porter Jr. fall all the way down to pick 32, no one would have thought that was going to happen. But it did. And now Steelers have an opportunity to reunite family members. Obviously, Joey Porter Sr. played with the Steelers, and reuniting Joey Porter Jr., who's been around the Steelers organization, and obviously the person the Steelers met with a lot as well. Having him fall all the way down to 32 may be one of the best possible positions and picks for the Steelers because they're getting older at cornerback, and they don't really have a young guy to develop and a young guy to kind of play press man-to-man. And Joey Porter Jr. really likes playing press, and the Steelers need a guy who could do that. They don't need guys who can play 5 yards off and zone coverage. They need a guy to get right up in the face of the wide receiver, and with so much talent at wide receiver in the NFL, having a guy in Joey Porter Jr. who could develop and be a long-time Steeler at pick number 32 is one of the best possible positions to be in. And not only that, even if the Steelers don't want a cornerback, outside cornerback, the best safety in this year's draft is still available. And a guy who the Steelers met with a lot, Alabama's Brian Branch, having the top safety available and losing Terrell Edmonds in free agency, even though the Steelers brought in Keanu Neal in free agency, having the top safety available is one of the best possible positions to be in. And he's position versatile as well. The Steelers really need a slot cornerback and a safety. He plays both slot corner and also he plays safety. So picking Brian Branch, or at least having him available to pick if they wanted to, is one of the best possible positions to be in. I keep saying that, best possible positions. Having top guys fall in this year's draft is really huge for the Steelers. The draft board really fell their way early on, with a lot of cornerbacks falling and a lot of positions falling as well. So, the Steelers, you might think, they picked a lot of guards in free agency and signed them, so they don't really need a guard. But just say they do. Just say the Steelers want one of the top centers or guards in this year's draft to convert a guard to center. They're available. The top guard inside offensive line, Osiris Torrance, is available still. And even if the Steelers want the top center, John Michael Schmitz is still available as well. So, if the Steelers want a guy to battle out with Mason Cole, or they didn't believe Mason Cole did a good job, having one of the top centers and inside offensive lines available is a huge deal for the Steelers. You look at Creed Humphrey in last year's draft. The Steelers really could have used him and had a solid guy play center, but they really didn't pick him. They picked someone else instead. So now having a guy available who's projected to be like a Creed Humphrey could be huge for the Steelers down the line. Some of you might think that's not one of their biggest needs, but having a guy who's solid and better than Mason Cole, probably still on the board, is a huge deal for the Steelers. And even though I mentioned top inside lines and top safety and even a top cornerback still being available, you look at a guy in a tight end like Darnell Washington or even Michael Mayer. The Steelers obviously have Pat Freiermuth and re-signed Zach Gentry and have Connor Hayward, but Connor Hayward I believe is more of a fullback, and having a guy to pair with Pat Freiermuth could even be a huge deal as well. And having a guy, I know many of you guys said in my comments below that you want Darnell Washington to be a selection for the Steelers. Having a big guy like that who stands at 6'7" and is a mismatch waiting to happen is huge, because could he be even a huge addition to the run game. Many of you wanted offensive tackle, well, we addressed that. But having a run blocking tight end, a guy who's not afraid to get his face dirty and put his head down and run block, and also be a huge attack in the passing game, could be huge for the Steelers. So, Michael Mayer, he's still available. Even though he's not more of a run blocker and he's more of a pass catcher, he's projected to be a great tight end at the next level. So, the Steelers having so much good selections still being available, but also having the availability to trade back if needed, because 2 quarterbacks are still on the board, and Will Levis and Hendon Hooker, they could listen to so many phone calls and make the best decision available for their team. And also, wide receiver. Even though Steelers don't need wide receiver, some guys who had great talent and put up big production at the college level in Jalen Hyatt, who kind of led the league in college in touchdowns, who kind of broke out last year. And even though Jonathan Mingo has fallen, Cedric Tillman has fallen, if the Steelers want a wide receiver, they're all available. And that's the best thing possible for the Steelers. A guy who they met with a lot in Darwin Jones, one of the biggest offensive tackles, right tackles in the NFL draft, he's still available as well. The Steelers didn't really like that he didn't participate in his pro day, but all these guys that the Steelers have met with and met with a lot, and apparently other teams have not fallen in love with because they have slid all this way, the Steelers having available at that pick is huge. And even though I didn't mention inside linebacker, one of the top inside linebackers have fallen as well, Trenton Simpson and Drew Sanders. So the Pittsburgh Steelers really need an inside linebacker, and all these guys have fallen. And now the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a whole day to receive phone calls, look to trade back if needed a couple spots to pick up an extra spot in the 4th or 5th round because they don't have any picks in those rounds. The Steelers don't have a pick in the 4th round, 5th round, or 6th round, so maybe they decide to trade back and listen to all the phone calls that the Eagles GM said that they got when they're on the board at pick 30, but they declined all those phone calls. So now the Steelers getting all those phone calls that the Eagles declined may be on the horizon. And even the Chiefs GM said that they received a lot of phone calls when they're on the board at pick number 31, right before the Steelers pick. Pick 32 is the Steelers. Chiefs GM said they received a lot of phone calls at pick 31. So the Steelers are going to have a whole day to listen to phone calls or even just make the best possible position and pick for their team. And I best believe that Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, is going to be aggressive and pick who they want. And having a guy, top offensive tackle, one of the top 2 at the position at left tackle, pure left tackle, and Broderick Jones, having him early in the draft, and then getting a guy you really like with your 2nd round pick, first pick of the 2nd round, is a huge deal in this year's draft for the Steelers. And with that being said, let me know down in the comments below. How do you feel about this? Do you believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the best possible position heading into the 2023 2nd round of the draft? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you like Steelers content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for this channel as well so you get notified whenever I post the next Steelers video. I've been covering all of free agency, and now, since it's draft time, trust me, I'm covering it all. I made so many videos already for our NFL draft, and all these picks in round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, if we trade up, just know I'm covering it. So, stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.